Sailing. Why bother? Once described as standing in a cold shower whilst tearing up £20 notes. Yes, it can be expensive, but there's also an accessible end of the sport. Whether it's dinghy sailing, canoeing, any water sports really, they're all giving you that connection to nature and, when required, the solitude to get away from, your busy life. My boat, Lady Ash, I bought for £6,000, and over the last 16 years or so, she's given me amazing sunrises, stunning sunsets, priceless time with friends, and a connection to nature that's second to none. And it works on so many levels. There's just going down to the boat to hang out and do tinkering and do jobs. There's just setting off locally to have a glass of wine and lunch whilst you're at anchor in the sunshine. You can go slightly further, maybe go around Anglesey, see the different bays and the different characters of the island, or you can set off further afield and go to Ireland, the Isle of Man, Northern Ireland, or you could just set your course as the horizon.
What are the realities of doing a long passage like this? Well, luckily, the sea isn't too rough, so it's not too demanding physically or mentally or emotionally. What do I do? Well, every hour I have to go below, and just in case all the electronic devices let me down, or the batteries go flat or whatever, then I mark my position on the chart every hour. So basically, it's amazing how quickly those hours come round, but that gives you a focus. So apart from making sure that we're heading in the right direction and repelling seagulls, that sort of thing, we're also having to think about making meals, going to the loo, and responding to anything that happens really. But on a day like today, where the wind is very low, there isn't a lot to do really other than make sure the engine keeps running, make sure we're pointing in the right direction, and that I'm comfortable. So I just thought I'd try and give those of you who haven't been sailing a little insight to what these longer passages are like. But in terms of things to see and do, there isn't a lot really. And you can imagine, wherever I look now, all I can see is sea. That's your lot. So it's not like coastal sailing where you've always got some coastline to look at with nice sea cliffs and things going on around you. The only thing I've seen since I set off is that one big ship, which I would have hit if I hadn't taken avoiding action. So even though there were only two boats basically out here in the middle of nowhere, he would have hit me because there was no one on the bridge. There was no one looking out. So unless he'd seen that I was going to take avoiding action and then gone to the loo or something, but I doubt it. So now, basically, the boat's doing nothing in the water, and that means I don't have to worry about what I'm doing below, which could be going to the loo, putting the mark on the chart, or even making lunch. And in fact, it's time for lunch. So, we've hove to, which means there's nothing going on outside. That then means that I can do other things down here, like make some food, put on a brew. So it is lunchtime at the moment. I've just marked a position on the chart, and I'm now going to make some lunch.
Audio Coast Guard to the maritime safety information broadcast with VHF channel 64. This is Audio Coast Guard.
It's a pretty good stove actually. It brews up in like a few minutes, and this soup will be hot and ready to eat. And got some nice fresh rolls to have with that. And then I'll probably have a coffee or a chocolate, and then get back out there and get at it, because I don't want to be too late in Holyhead. So you've got to think about keep moving, but you've also got to think about fueling and staying warm. That boat that came along, we were on a collision course, so my radio's got AIS, which is an automatic identification system. And that tells me when I'm actually going to hit something, which is really handy when I'm in the dark or I'm in poor visibility, fog, that sort of thing. So we've got a number of options. This is also good if I go over the side. I can press a button on here and hopefully it'll summon help, it'll send out a mayday, and it'll give my actual position in the sea. So I'm just trying to give you all a little bit of an idea of what it's like at sea when you're doing these long passages. The one thing that's a pain in the ass about sailing on your own is that there's no one else to take over. So the great thing about having someone else with you is that you can do 2 hours on, 2 hours off, 3 hours on, 2 hours off, whatever suits you, depending on when it goes dark. And then you take it in turns with taking the helm. Sadly, I haven't got that luxury today. Now getting towards the traffic separation scheme, so I can see a boat in the distance. Got to be careful about that. But basically, apart from that, that's the first vessel I've seen for a long time. Getting a bit nearer civilization now. I've been out 11 hours. It's got very sunny, the wind's dropped, and I got so hot in my oilies I had to take them off. So at least now it's very pleasant, very sunny. I just need to concentrate on getting the right vector now to offset the tide, so that I'll arrive at Holyhead a bit up tide. I don't want to end up down tide, because then I'll end up fighting the tide to try and get in. So I'm just trying to allow enough vectoring to offset the tide now.